After 26 weeks, 206 games, and copious amounts of beers, we are down to the final two. The Western Bulldogs and the Melbourne Football Club will be heading into the 2021 AFL Grand Final. But before we get into it in a fortnight, it's the time to have a chat about the preliminary finals and so much more with your host, Chris Pepper, and my co-host, you know him as Jamie the J-Dog Wallace. We're here for Lace Out, and let's just get straight into it. None of the hoity-toity intros about who we are and what we do. We're just going to talk about some great football that was played on the weekend and some atrocious turn-ups by two teams as well. All the news, all the reviews. It's Lace Out, and it's how you want your footy. How are you, great man Jamie Wallace? And more importantly, how's your mental health after a travesty of a weekend for Port and its supporters?
Wow, I was thinking about giving you a call at 4 o'clock today and calling in sick for tonight's show, Peps. No, actually, I'm okay. It's footy. It's not the end of the world. It's a sport we all love and we all follow and we're all passionate about. But at the end of the day, it's a sport. It's not your paycheck. It's someone else's.
And you know what? Their paycheck is definitely a hell of a lot bigger than ours anyway. But
Absolutely.
look, it was finals football at its finest. We can honestly say I don't think either of us saw the results that popped out of the weekend, regardless if we barracked for both of these teams. Look, we were deep down hoping that both of our teams were going to get through. That means that we would have been in the Herald Sun. The podcast would have been promoted to the top of the food chain. Everybody would have known about Lace Out because that's who we are. That's how awesome we are. But unfortunately, it wasn't the way of the land. It just didn't go that way. And look, to Geelong and to Port Adelaide, all I can say is congratulations for letting your supporters down once again when it comes to the second last dance of the season.
Well, Peps, it brings me to one of my first points of tonight. How do we all feel if the 2022 season and every final season from then on, we just have a round robin where everyone gets a medal for turning up and there's no scores and there's ultimately no grand final? We just all feel good about it. I feel that would be a much better approach to finals moving forward.
And participation ribbons.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no scores. Yeah, that would be good.
Well, I think Chuka Moss, who's joined us, he's a massive Western Bulldog supporter, and he's just simply said it, the best two sides made it. And I think...
Can't deny it.
It's the first chat that's come in so far tonight, and it's probably the best. It's the best one we've had so far tonight, and he's right. The two best sides made it. Will they be the two best sides in a fortnight's time? I don't know. And look, we're not going to discuss everything leading into the grand final. We're going to do our previews and so forth next week. We're going to have a chat over the prelims. We're going to have our thoughts watching them and what we observe, so from both sides of it. But we're all going to be spinning the magnets. We're going to go through the news around the grounds with our news breaker. We're going to go through Splashing the Cash. We're going to hit the Gonski files. You name it, we've got it today. So, big fella, I reckon we should start. We normally ask how each other's weekends was. I think, mine went all right. Yours was a little bit average. So, look, why don't we start with you? Give us your thoughts on the game. Viewers, listeners, give us your thoughts on the Facebook page or in the chat tonight as you hear this. Just your thoughts on the Port Adelaide Western Bulldogs game. What did you think?
All right, so I'll probably have to preface this with saying what my Saturday was like. So Saturday, I was a nervous wreck. I was absolutely wrapped on Friday night to see your team go through and win in such a convincing way. Like, I was over the moon because I know how much it means to you and your fam. And I know, being friends now for a long time, the suffering through all those years, the big losses, the coaches, the dramas, all that sort of stuff. So I was absolutely wrapped for Melbourne. And I sort of had that dream moment of like, oh my God, Melbourne's made it. It's on. Like, Peps and Jamie could have the two teams in the grand final for 2021. And I was really excited by that.
I was really looking forward to, after we won on Friday night, the fact that we would have been on the front cover of the Herald Sun. Lace Out, podcast partners. And like that type of, we would have had that type of photo going. Yeah.
Well, so then Saturday I thought, okay, I'm just going to go. I was nervous. I woke up nervous. And I said to you last week I was nervous because of the whole underdog card. And this is the game that Port in the history of Port, we just lose these ones. Like, it's just one thing we do. So I thought, I'm going to go for a ride. I'm just going to clear my mind. I went out for a ride. I got swooped by about 57 magpies. But I got home. I settled down. I was, 2 hours to bounce, 1 hour to bounce. I was just building myself up. So then the game started. And Peps, the first goal, I'll cop. The second goal, I'll cop. But as the game got... As the 5-minute mark hit and we're 3 goals down, I'm like, this is not good, and I could tell straight away that we were off. So I guess, do you want me to talk about the game now in terms of where I see it, or do you want me to talk about what do you want me to talk about? I can talk about what I did for the Saturday night.
I don't know, but I reckon it was. I think I reckon about 10 minutes into the first quarter, you went, it's over. I think you sent me a message just along those lines. I said, no, hold on. You just don't. Be patient. You never know.
You did say be patient. Where's my phone? Yes, you did say that.
Nothing did change at all.
All right, so I'm just going to go into a bit of a breakdown. Since we're a bit of a breakdown, that sounds bad after a loss. I'm going to go into a bit of a breakdown about the game, and I'll talk about my Saturday, and I'll talk about the breakdown. So I guess, where do you want to hear first, Peps? Do you want to talk about my Saturday and then my strategies for coping of the loss, or do you want to hear about Port Adelaide, the game, the good, the bad, and then the future for 2021 and beyond? What would you want me to go to?
How about we do this? How about you give us a quick synopsis of your Saturday leading into the game? We know the bike riding, nervous, etc. Then I'll obviously have a chat about mine. But tell me about game time, and then where do you see Port after this?
All right, game time. As I said, it was all over in the first quarter. Plus 23 contested possessions. That's Port Adelaide's game. Has been now that for quite a while. We won 17 plus counts of those throughout the season. We were minus 23 in the first quarter.
That was brutal.
We were down by 9 clearances in the first quarter. We were down. So the Bulldogs were plus 6 inside 50s in the first quarter. Plus 6 contested marks. And also 37 points up at quarter time. I mean, it was a complete shellacking. And that's the game. That's it. Like, we saw Kenny at the second quarter just head buried in his hands, and every Port Adelaide supporter was feeling it. Took the oxygen straight out of the game. So that's the game in the nutshell. Absolutely, doggies came prepared. They came to play. Port Adelaide were half entering contests, missing marks, not willing to do the things that make the good teams great. And
you know what I
there's no other word.
Quickly?
Yeah.
Now, what I really noticed was Nick from the Portress. They'd be shattered right now. The Portress podcast boys. They're on every Tuesday night. Love them to death, right?
Thursday.
They had work. And Thursday as well. They had Aaliyah worked out. When Josh Shackey went to him, just played him from behind, Aaliyah looked deer in the headlight stuff. That was the first thing. And I thought, is that going to stick, or is he going to work it out? He couldn't work his way out of it. That was and we're talking about Josh Shackey, who through his entire career has not really set it a lot. He's played his best game for the year and hardly touched the ball. And then did you see his confidence start to grow towards the end of the game?
Well,
that's scary for him, but
it was him. Norton couldn't drop a ball. Like, he was just flying for everything. And then you had, Bailey Smith and that sort of stuff just happening. So that was the first quarter, Peps. And I'm just sitting there going, fuck, like, this is it. Like, that's game over. So there were some baffling decisions. We left Willem Drew off sat on the bench. Now, he played on Liberatore 2 weeks early, kept him to 17 possessions for the whole game, but Ken decided to leave him on the bench. The first clearance, the first bounce of the game, Libba, handball out to Bont, who kicked it into the 50. And they're away. Those players are away.
It was baffling. Do you reckon there would have been, when that went up on the board and his name was there, do you reckon the eyes around the group would have been starting to look at each other going, this can't be real? Just starting him on the bench.
Blown away. And I don't think any Port Adelaide supporter was expecting that. So that's that. So that is all that. For the game itself, Peps, Port choked. Home prelim, no injuries, week off, well rested. It was ours to win. And
No
we
travel.
no travel. We choked.
You got
Western
the
Bulldogs,
train. You got the train on
we
the
got to
oval.
train. Western Bulldogs have been in 5 different states in 14 days and 40 something odd COVID tests. Like they have been through the ringer. It was set up for us to win. And there was rarely a pundit out there that was not tipping Port Adelaide to win this comfortably. Key injuries, travel, games, blah, blah, blah. You name it. Port Adelaide had it in its advantage, and we choked. We choked again. So, I'll give you a quick rundown for the season. This is Port Adelaide top of the season. The good stuff. We finished top 2. Great result. Fantastic result. We didn't drop any games that we shouldn't have dropped. So other teams in and amongst this, they dropped games to teams that were well below them on the ladder, or they drew with teams that were sort of around that ladder. So we won the games that we were going to win, and maybe we should have won some more, but we didn't lose to teams outside the 8 or anything like that. So we won those games that we had to.
You leave that to Melbourne.
we saw, well, that's how we sort of finished. We won the games we had to. Young players, we had Drew step up this year. We had Miles Bergman step up this year. That's been fantastic. Riley Bonham was really good towards the back end of the season, and the recruiting of Aaliyah was a masterstroke for all intensive purposes, other than Saturday night, where that's an anomaly. It's been the good part to the season that we've done really well. The bad, the slow starts. It has absolutely dogged Ken Hinkley's career from day one, and it's around slow starts and first quarter fade-outs, where if we're going to lose, that's going to be in the first quarter. The injuries, the fact that we had a lot of injuries through the season, and to key players has really hurt us. And it's the blowouts, Peps. When Port lose, they lose heavily. Like they rarely lose just like by a kick or something like that. They're going to get blown out, and that happened a few times this season. So that's the bad parts of the season. For me, the big question is around what's the future look like? And for me, it's around, there's conversations around Kenny Peps, and I don't know where I sit right now about Kenny and my feeling towards him. I've always been a Kenny out. But if you were to tell anyone that you're going to fire a coach who's got you into a prelim final 2 years in a row, you'd say that's madness on the surface of it.
Look, you'd love to be a fly on the wall to see what the pump up before the game would have been.
Yeah,
you can't blame Kenny for it. You cannot blame. You can blame the coach as much as you want.
Yeah,
but do you really need to question the culture within the playing group? Because they look timid. Like your holy trinity of Rosie Butters and Dersma.
Yeah. We just couldn't get near it.
Did they play? Like the number of times I saw them taking short steps, not committing, and it went throughout the entire group. They always say they didn't turn up to play. I don't think they turned up for the contest itself. Like effort is one thing. You don't have to coach effort. That's just within yourself. And for the entire group not to have any effort, I think Riley Bonner was the one that probably stood out the most that actually had crack. Ollie Wines, don't know where he went. Boak, they've carried these two have carried the team the entire year on their shoulder. Were not seen. A question has been raised by Buzz, Charlie Dixon. I said it on Thursday night. Are you playing a top 8 team? Yes. He's not going to do it. He doesn't do enough.
Yeah.
It was just it was like, is this the Port Adelaide that we saw throughout the season, or is this the Port Adelaide that I don't. What you served up, I would be massively disappointed. And trust me, I've followed a team for many years that has been. I know what disappointment is. This whole winning thing is not normal to us Melbourne supporters.
Well, I'm bloody glad it is though for you now. So for me, Kenny's future. There's just some questions. The 10-year itch is coming up. He's led us to 3 prelim finals, 2 in a row. 2 of them lost by 1 kick, and then just complete blowout here. So what does that say about Kenny? He can get us to that point, but can't get us over the line. The last 2 years, we've had 2 home prelim finals and haven't made it.
But
we've made finals 5 out of the 9 years of his current tenure, with the 17 one where we got kicked out by a Luke Shuey kick after the siren. Charlie Dixon kicked 6 behinds that game. And this is the question that has dogged Ken Hinkley from day one. What is the forward structure and why do we keep having slow starts? Like, what is happening? It's been now 10 years of a shitty forward structure ever since we lost Jay Schultz, basically. So I'll take that back. 8 years. Ever since we lost Jay Schultz, what the hell is our forward line structure? And why do we continue to have slow starts? Why does this keep continuing to happen under the coach's watch?
Well, big fella,
And
all I
is
can
he the
say
man? Is he the man for the future? Is he the man for the future?
well, here's the thing, right? A couple of things before we move on to the other game, all right? First and foremost, you've won 9 first quarters this year.
Yeah.
Okay. You lost everyone in the finals, you lost.
Mhm.
From a points perspective, there's only a 5-point difference swing against you. So it either seems to be that when you win them well, but if you get beaten in the first quarter, you get smashed. That's what happened on the weekend. You just got smashed. The other side of things is I don't think you can blame Ken. It's easy to blame Ken. I think the players need a good hard look at themselves as well too.
For sure.
Here's why I say that. I can only go back to my mob. What you're going through is what I've been going through for years. Quality of players not playing as a team and not bringing the effort. Now, the players are responsible for that. The coaches are not. Has he got the right assistants around him? Has he got the assistants that are able to generate? Because you can see over the course of 12 months, Melbourne brought 2 brand new assistants in, Williams and Uze, and it shifted everything completely.
Correct.
Goodwin was still there, but the supporters. Does he need to get some new assistants? Do we need to go, Vossi, see you later? And whoever the rest of your assistants, do they need to go, look, we need to clean the slate, get some people. Mate, you said it perfectly. 5 out of 9 seasons, you've made finals. You've made 3 prelims. You're there. Maybe he needs a little bit of, expertise around him, a bit more gusto.
See, this is where I don't know. Like, if Goodwin had been in the same position 9 years as a coach and had done this to Melbourne, I don't feel, other than the Cats, I don't know who else would carry someone like this for such a long time. That's all. And we're going through, we've had now 2 list rebuilds or mini rebuilds with what we've got, and nothing seems to be improving. And is it Kenny now? Like, is it? I'm not a Kenny lover, but I have been off the Kenny case. I'm thinking something's changing, and something now needs to change. And I don't know if it's Kenny. The players absolutely fucked it on the weekend. I'm not going to say. There's no other words for it. What can you do as a coach? What can you do? We don't have a game plan to stop that. I don't know anyone has a game plan to stop that. Just ask Geelong when you kicked 8 goals in the third. But some people are talking it's a loss that could set us back 5 years. I don't believe that, but at the same time, I'm at a loss for answers at the end of the season. I don't know where we stand. I think we are a good team, but I think we are a long way. I think position 2 on the ladder flattered us greatly. Melbourne, the Doggies are the 2 clear contenders this year, and I'm glad to see that in the grand final because that's what you want.
Wow. Do you want to get onto it? Because I wouldn't mind having a quick.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So Friday, same thing. I think I started getting nervous about halfway through the morning because it's Melbourne. And anyone who's Melbourne supporters, and we've got a few of them on the chat tonight. Melbourne supporters know when everyone looks at Melbourne going to win, all on their face. And you can tell within the first 5 minutes of a game, either Melbourne are on or Melbourne are off. Well, in the first minute and a half, you knew Melbourne were on. They were sharp. They were quick. There was a passage of play. Salem takes the ball, gives it over to Langdon. Langdon goes to Cozzy. Goes down to big Benny Brown. Benny Brown has hits the post. It was mint. It was absolutely mint. I'm going, these guys are on. But mind you, can I say this, J-Dog? If
Go for it.
If Melbourne supporters we were a very humble bunch because we don't really have much to celebrate, all right? And I can tell you, I've still got my lid on regardless, all right? It's a bit, we had 2018 and then we saw what happened. So we just got to enjoy it for what it is, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But just to see that the way that they played, you just knew Geelong had no chance. They kicked the first goal. So, we know Melbourne can come back from that.
Yeah.
But geez, they were good. Like, and you know when you can usually pick out a bad player, and I'll get onto a bad player when we get into our spin the magnet segment. I could not pick a bad player out of the Melbourne team. And the only reason why you might pick one might have been I fumbled a bit here and there, but they held their own. And if that's the type of game that I see turning up to the grand final day, I think we've got a massive chance of winning it. And we'll talk about it more on the grand final preview next week. But
but Peps,
I've said it for many times.
What's it of me, Peps, is just the way you spread from the contest and the avenues to goals that you had. Like, you just had, if it wasn't Ben Brown with his unco arms and legs getting in the way, it was a Fritsch, or it was a Cozzy Pickett causing absolute mayhem and pressure across that forward 50. Like, it was everything that was Melbourne football 2021, and it was on full force on Friday.
It was pushed all the way to 11. It was pushed all the way. It was all at 11, right? And then you think you couldn't get any better after the first half, right? You get Gorney kicking this snap. And normally half time, that's when I normally sometimes turn the game off, because either they come back or we fall on their asses. It's one or the other.
Mm.
And then I went and did something else. And I remember you sent me a message and say, Peps, don't worry, mate. You'll be fine. You'll get the... And within the first minute, you go, see, I told you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I flicked the screen. They've got up. Ben Brown's kicked one. Well, all right, turned it back on. To see that third quarter, I don't care if whatever team you barrack for. Like, Geelong smashed us in the last round they kicked 8. That was not as exciting as our 8 goals. But all I can say is when Maxi went berserk, there's another football lover that would have just gone, this is awesome. Narelle was watching it in the other room. Okay, now she had a delay of about 8 seconds on her screen compared to mine. I started hearing things from the other room of, whoa, yeah. What's going on, hun? Oh, sorry. Oh, Gordy. Oh, you're not going to believe it. And it just kept going and going. I'm like, what are you watching? I ended up having to change the room so I could see what was going on. He was just clunking everything. It was the 55-metre bomb. It was a snap out of the pack. It was the mark. It was even the commentators. Oh, the ball's coming into the foot. Oh, surely not gone again. Again. But and then you finish it off with a bomb into the forward line to Geelong, and there's Cozzy, the smallest out of the three of them, jumps up, comes in, runs in, and you're just going, how can you get excited? And the thing is, there was also another piece of play in that quarter, and we're going to talk about him in a moment, but Gary Rowan running along the boundary line to pick up the ball, and there was
poor Gary.
And no, poor Gary. There was Gary and then Gorney, and Gorney laid a tackle on him that just crunched him. And I'm just going, there's nothing stopping this mob. If they bring that on grand final day, I know what we say about the Dogs, but that is just pressure.
Yeah.
And you can't escape pressure.
You
can't escape pressure. It was just immense. And Viney had his best game. Oliver and Petrarca. When Petrarca took that ball out of like Radaglia, who's a brick shithouse, and literally said, I'll take that, thank you. And Geelong.
So let's talk about our opponents. Let's talk about our opponents. Right. Geelong. Let's go with Geelong first.
Let's go.
So too old, too slow. Is Joel Selwood the right person to play?
Their dad's army. They had, I think, 12 players over the age of half their team was over the age of 30. Apparently, Grant Birchall's on their targeting to recruit him this year. He's in their age bracket, ready to go. Apparently, hold on. So I'm doing a podcast. I'm going to have to come back. That was Chris Scott just gave me a call saying if I was available, you'll probably get one. Lee Mack
Chris Fagan got a call?
Yeah, Chris Fagan got a call. We will not miss the 8 next year, Lee McKenzie. We're leaving that to Hawthorn. All right.
So tell me about Geelong. So, okay, some questions for Geelong that people have been wanting to know. So, first question is that it? Is that done for Geelong? Are they closed?
You reckon that you're at a decision point. They're at a decision point. They've got a bunch of young kids that are looking at going elsewhere because they can't get a game.
Yep.
Geelong have to literally do what North did. North pulled the trigger. They got rid of 12. Are you going to tell me that Selwood is going to be better next year? Are you going to tell me that Gary Rowan's going to be better? Yeah. Henderson
next year.
Isaac Smith.
I think Henderson and Smith are the ones that are gone.
Yep. Who else are we looking at here?
Hawkins.
Hawkins, well, he's a full forward,
Dangerfield.
so he's still with the danger. Is he going to get better? He's not going to be a midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
You got someone like Cam Guthrie who's out of contract.
Yep,
Do you want to
Stewart.
stay? Like, would you stay there? Stewart's still okay, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, they're just going. Oh, he's just Lee Max just called me a twit. He's talking about Geelong missing the 8. Thanks. I'm sorry about that. Just said miss the 8 next year after I was wrapping up the D. So it's all gone. I don't think Smith will go, but they've got a lot of decisions to make. Do we get rid of these older players? They have to. Otherwise, the kids are going to go, and then they're going to have no performance on the field and nothing to bring in. And that's a problem with Geelong. They went for the now. I reckon they stuffed it up last year when they didn't win it. It's all Graham Myers' fault. Never try and snap a ball. Never try and snap a ball. Just go the straight up kick. You would have been 5 goals up in the granny and made it very, very hard. Okay. And also the coach. Can I just say, what type of coach comes out and I'm tipping if they'd won that game, there would have been no mention about anything in terms of viruses going through the team, etc. a couple of days before the game. Those 6 players went onto the game. Those 6 players went onto the field. They're fit. Don't go playing if it's a virus.
Pips.
It's bullshit.
We're not going to blame it on the virus, but we're going to tell everyone about the virus. We're not going to blame it on the virus.
Tell everybody about the virus, but it wasn't the virus. Like, there's only one virus, and we know who that is.
So,
ever since
next
he went
year, are they going to make the 8?
Of course not.
Of course
not.
2021. 2021, what's the date say? 14th of the 9th, 2021. I am not prepared to write the Cats off.
I am.
Just yet.
Cats
I reckon they've got
done.
one more year. One more year.
They've got nothing, mate. They've just been pumped by 80 plus in a prelim against a team whose average age was 4 years younger than them. And tell me, outside of Tom Stewart, who makes that team better?
Jeremy Cameron.
He played.
Outside
of Tom
missed.
Stewart, who was not playing, who makes that team better?
The ruckman that they've wanted for 12 years.
Polly Farmer's not coming back from the grave, mate, so we're not bringing him.
No, but they need a ruckman. That's obvious. Yeah, that has been something that's dogged them.
They could drop. They will drop, and they're going to hit hard. They have to drop hard. There's no way. There's no 2 ways about it. They have to drop hard, J-Dog. They can't serve up what they did last week. Okay. Their game plan doesn't stack up the finals.
One more year.
No, you can have one more because that's all you're going to get. Their game plan is not meant for finals. Finals is pressure and defense. They had none of that on the weekend. All this chippy, worky. It does not work in finals.
True.
So then you have to ask questions of the coach. Apparently, Corey Enright and Scarlett are looking at leaving.
Mm-hmm.
There go the Rats. Ship is got major cracks in it, and no matter how many Sally's containers you whack into it, it's on the. They have to do something.
He's got one more year next year.
Doesn't matter if they're way too old, and if they do what they did, the only reason why they came out so well was because of the number of games they played GMHBA on that straight deck, which is literally a cylinder because there's no wings.
My corridor's
go into a bigger ground.
GMHBA.
My hallway's wider than GMHBA. So I don't think. But like I said, I put a video up on after the game, and look, just from a Melbourne perspective, and we'll wrap it up because we've got like so much to get through in such a little time. But I think I was just so happy. It was so happy, and I know the Melbourne supporters, like the old man, Big Trev, and Mum, and Irina, who we go to the footy with, the Love Machine. You got his wife. You got Tropsy's joining us on here as well too. You know, for years, Lee Mack would know because he teased me about it for years.
Lee Mack's second team, I'm pretty sure.
Melbourne is shit. Melbourne are awful. Why would you follow them? You're no good, etc. And just to see them come out and play like that, especially after all the years, after the tanking years, the Mark Neal years, the 186, all of that crap that went on, being in debt, having to be propped up by the AFL for years, all that sort of stuff. You're irrelevant. The way that you play, the Rats took over the ship. The coaches got rid of because the players said, "It's pushing us too hard." After all of that, to see that how we've had a monumental ship off the field, on the field, that's what it's all about. And I just hope they come out and really have a crack because there's a belief through this group that they could do something special. They're all young. They're virtually all signed up for the next couple of years. They're not going anywhere. So, if it's not going to be this year, there could be some really nice things coming forward. And you know what? The D's and Doggies, it could be the new West Coast Sydney.
Well, Peps, I can tell you, you've inspired me. I've gone out there and I've bought a pair of R.M. William boots, a rugby top, and I've enrolled Hucks into a private school. So you've got me inspired to be a Melbourne person.
That's okay. Question though, what cheese do you have on your board? That's what I'd be.
I have a brand that I can't talk about anymore.
Now, I've
rebranded cheese.
I have to throw something here. Lee Mack's beautiful sister, Jenny, has just said, can you stop mentioning Lee? He loves hearing his name in a public forum. We know that. He loves hearing his name just as many as the names he likes to drop when he sends us his photos through Brownlow's, all the different other bits and pieces. So
pity
we know he loves his name, but it's actually nice to be able to spend some time. It's great finals. We're usually up at the Snow.
It's pity you just can't see Lee Mack when he's a podcast with us. Oh, your audio's dropped out. All right. Yeah. No, I was saying it's a shame we can't see Lee Mack when he actually has a podcast with us.
Yeah, well,
he just decides to sit in the dark like a weirdo.
It's like we're doing one of those videos for Crime Stoppers, and we've just had to protect his face because no one wants to see it. We couldn't put a light on it because his head would shine. All right, let's go into it.
Let's go to the news.
All right, let's go into the news. It's news time with the newsman himself, the J-Dog. Get into it, big fella. Let's get into it, and let's whip through the news tonight. Let's get into it because we've got so much. We're half an hour into the show already. We've got half an hour left, and we've literally just scrapped the barrel. So let's get into Around the Grounds. Go for it, J-Dog.
Peps, Around the Grounds, very quickly. Peps, this one just hit my news desk very, very quickly. I had no idea that Carlton, we spoke about Carlton on Thursday, and we said, who the F knows about Carlton and their coach situation? Well, the cheeky little devils have gone out there and tried to lure a bit of Chris Fagan action down to Carlton. And
bit of Fago action, hey?
Was quickly told to fudge off.
Fuck off.
So Luke Sayers has sort of come out and sort of, we tried to put a sneaky thing in there. And after they failed to secure Alistair Clarkson and Ross Lyon, they're putting the doors out there. So as we know, Fagan's now gone. Ross the boss told him to F off. Alistair Clarkson said F off. Vossi sounds like he could be into a bit of a hunt for the Carlton job.
Gian Syracusa?
Yep. Don Pike would be one I'd be interested in.
Another one, the bet killer, Adam Kingsley. He's in there as well too.
And Brad Scott was thrown around, but apparently the sneaky talk is that he's taken a role at the AFL house in a new position there.
And Chris Scott has also been contacted, but Carlton's list doesn't suit his preferred age bracket age profile, so he's decided to just pass that one. He might wait another 10 years and then take them on as long as the list stays intact.
Yeah. He said, I'll only come and coach if you bring back people like Simpson and all those types of players.
Dool.
Koutafidis, Dool, Savani.
No. Further back. Harms, Sheldon. That's it.
All right.
Kenny Hunter.
That is that one there, Pep. So, any thoughts on the coaching stuff there at Carlton?
Oh, they're just a freaking shambles. Seriously,
I don't get it.
Expect your phone to ring soon, J-Dog. They might give you a chance to be coach.
Well, they missed out on the next one because I tell you what do we always say about Collingwood? It takes the Brisbane Lions who pants them for 3 years to run the joint properly. And that's pretty fair to say, Peps, after the news coming out this week, which we had flagged, we had highlighted earlier in the season that we said, get this man a job.
Get this
he deserves
man,
to be in there.
After hearing him on the radio, he has been sensational. So who are we talking about, J-Dog? Who are we speaking
about? We're talking about the great man, the other ginger that no one talks about from that dominant Brisbane era. Lepich has decided to join fellow teammate at the Collingwood Football Club into an assistant role. Craig McRae, sorry, I lost his name. And the other signing, the jockey himself, the ex-Carlton man.
Good on him.
Brendan Bolton has decided to join that crew as well. So Craig McRae leading it with Lepper and also Brendan Bolton as his assistants.
Yeah, I think Lepper's going to be in there as the head of strategy as well. So He's got a great football mind. And you know what? You're going to have two senior coaches who know what he's going through supporting this guy.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I think Collingwood are going to rebound so much faster than Carlton.
Yeah.
I know all that presidential bullshit that's been going on, but they brought Graham Wright across. He's there.
Yep.
McRae's there. They've got a good group of assistants around him. I think Collingwood are going to bounce back a lot faster than the Blues, even though I would say the Blues have a better list at this particular moment in time. Collingwood will bounce back faster because they're getting their development and off. Like I said, if you get your off-field right, you get your on-field right. And there's a perfect example of it right there. What's next?
We said, I was just going to talk just to quickly on that one there. We've heard about how great Bolton is as a player developer. Maybe not the man to lead a team, but definitely the guy behind the scenes to really help and guide young players. And Lepic, we spoke about it earlier in the year. He just has a footy brain. The way he talks about it, the way he explains it, it makes people like you and I, who are probably on the lower end of the IQ scale, understand the game a bit better. So,
did you say IQ or follicle? Because you're definitely lower in the follicle.
Me on the follicle end, yeah, for sure. But IQ,
me on the IQ, yeah, fair enough.
All right, another great news, Peps, because it all just keeps coming. The cup givers, the grand final cup givers have been announced, and there could not have been two better people to deliver it. So,
there could have been, but they just can't get into the States, so they've had to go with who's there.
That's definitely true. All right, so for Melbourne, if they were to be victorious in 2 weeks' time, Gary Lyon himself will be handing the cup over, and if Western Bulldogs were to win, Chris Grant is the one there to deliver the cup to their captain and coach.
I don't mind it. 2 ex-captains, 2 legends of each club. Can't ask for much more than that. And they're probably the only 2 non-playing people from those clubs that are actually in Perth at the moment. So that's everything they've got to go to. They could have gone with Shane Woden, and they probably could have gone with Alan Joyce as well too.
No, this feels right. It feels right.
It's like a new, fresh pair of jocks.
Yeah. All right. Let's go and talk about some money.
You want to go to money? Yeah, boy. Here comes the money. Money. Okay, contracts time, mofos. All righty, with CJ the DJ. All right, let's get into it. Right. So, Jack Billings at the moment, 4 more years for the Saints. There was a bit of ideas. Where's he going to go? Is he going to stay? But he's there. Paddy Ryder gets another 12 months as well. Lockie Schultz, I think he's locked himself in for 2 years at Freo. Hawthorn had their fingers into him, but he's decided to stay as well, which is awesome. The Schwannies, interestingly enough, have given Luke Parker 4 years.
32 or 33 when that contract finishes?
Yeah, he's going to be 35 by the time it finishes, J-Dog. So it's going to be
it's the extension, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry.
It's the extension. So I think that's going to be a bit of an interesting one. I think because of the Breaston Ferris, that's pushed him over the limit.
Oh, the Breaston Ferris. We're not getting an invite to this night.
Oh, maybe. Buddy apparently hosts it. And Jacob Hopper, 2 more years at GWS. 2 years. That's a lot lower than normal. They usually go 6 or 7 years GWS, so that's going to be an interesting one. I think the interesting thing, though, J-Dog, is everything that's still to go. Mobile Choi links to Essendon and Gold Coast at the moment. Richmond's not too super keen to keep him, sounds like, so he's exploring his options. Josh Kennedy, he's got the option of one more year on the table at West Coast. Cam Guthrie, yet to sign. Do you think that what happened on the weekend, age profile, etc., do you reckon he'd be keen to stay? Or do you reckon he might just have a bit of a look and go, well, what's out there?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay.
Yep.
I think the chance to play alongside his brother is going to be too much.
Newsflash, just a quick newsflash, by the way. Cochin has stepped down as captain of the Tigers. Mossy said something in the chat, just come through on the news, like literally.
Thanks,
just
Mossy.
That's good on you, Mossy.
Legend.
Hopefully that's the only good news you have in the next couple of weeks when the D smash you. Jake Kelly under free agency has gone to Essendon, and really shrewd work here by Essendon because like they need another halfback flanker. There's plenty of halfback wankers at that club as it is. Adam Shearer, definitely looking at the Blues, but the D's, stay tuned on this one. Very impressed by the pitch that they gave. It's just a matter of the trade value, what they're going to be able to give back. Luke
Oh, you
Jackson is off
cannot
the table.
afford him. You can't afford him. Get out of
We've
it.
got because
Look at
Carlton
your
can.
look at your
Carlton
young
can.
lists. They'll all be coming
They're all
for
signed.
money.
They're all signed.
They'll be coming out. Pocket here, money here. Stick it in here. Stick it in here.
Just get off there, right? Yes, I did say halfback wankers, all right? CJ from Hawthorn, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. I have got no idea why the Hawks haven't signed this kid up. He's the only thing exciting about that team.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. Callum Coleman-Jones, North potentially looking at him, and he might go home but he won't go to Adelaide or Port Adelaide because they've got enough ruckman down there. So he's probably going to go to North because he's guaranteed game time. Tom Mitchell, still not yet. Port, would you have him, Jamie? Tom Mitchell?
We need a midfielder.
Yeah.
He's a cream. Probably not. He's a cream midfielder.
Yeah, he's a sheepdog. Just gets his position out the back of the pack. All right.
You remind me of that old man on that kind of current affair. Remember that old man?
Who? Yeah.
The video of the
yeah, I know. Can we just get on with it? Jack Zeeble, Ed Curnow, they've all got an extra year. George Hewitt, lock him into the Blues. Jared Dawson, looks like he's going home to SA. I don't know which team, even though the Swans have offered him over 500 G. So there is the money. Lots to talk about when it comes to that side of things too. And more coming around over the next couple of weeks as well too. Alrighty.
Blake Wall is having me in tears. It's just bringing back the memory of that old current affair story.
Tom Mitchell is leaving. He's gone because obviously he just doesn't like Sam Mitchell. That's why he's not. That's why he's going. Rightio. One other one we have to also get into is this one. Because best and fairest on the weekend has occurred. So we're looking at the Brisbane Lions is literally the only one that we've got some news on at the moment. Dane Zorko, 340 votes, wins his 5th Merritt Murray medal. Hugh McCluggage on 336. There's a 4-pointer in this one. Jared Lyons on 332. Brandon Starcevic, 290. And no Lockie Neal in the top 5, even though he played 17 games. Like I said, gets a lot of it, doesn't do much with it. 48 possessions in a final and did nothing. So, you are the best. Fascinating. Rightio. J-Dog, I'm just going to keep rolling with these ones because we're going to get our best mate. We're going into the Gonski files. Let's get into who's going to be wrapping up. First and foremost, Port Adelaide J-Dog. Hamish Hartlett. Joel Garner will be finishing up. Hamish Hartlett, big servant for the Port Adelaide power over many, many years. How would you like
Father Time.
Your thoughts about
Father Time gets him.
Yep, exactly right.
And
so
Joel Garner, bad to see him go.
Yeah, but he was great off the long run, and his outswinger was a roller. Brisbane / Grant Birchall retired, 4 flags. Like I said, he is being chased down by Geelong. We'll see what happens with that one there. And Archie Smith. I didn't even know there was a guy named Archie Smith on Brisbane's list. And apparently he's played 18 games in 8 seasons. And apparently he's extending his career somewhere. Is that just an absolute scam? How much would he be on? You reckon he might be on $200,000 a year?
It's got the sniff of the Gorringe about him. You know, Daniel Gorringe.
It's got a bit of Gorringe on it. It has got a bit of Gorringe. But yeah, he's another one on the Gonski files as well too. So he has finished up as well. So he is gone. Rightio, J-Dog. You know what we haven't done?
What's that?
We have not. Also, just got to quickly, haven't finished. Last thing, Essendon. Ned Cahill is gone. Lockie Johnson has been delisted. And also David Varakis has also been let go. And a couple of others that just came through on the Twitter sphere as we speak from St Kilda, I think it is. They've let a couple others as well too, but they were no-name brands, so it doesn't really matter.
Cool.
Rightio. Want to spin some magnets?
Oh, sure. We do that at all. Do you want to do it?
Run them. We're going to do it.
All right, quickly. We'll fly through them.
We're flying through this. How good's this episode, listeners? We're flying through it. See what happens when Jamie doesn't talk? It goes a lot faster. All right. So, all right, let's Let's get him out. Let's get him out. Rightio. First and foremost, Port and Geelong. Absolutely putrid what you both served up.
Stinkers.
Out of the two games. Pardon?
Losers, stinkers.
Who was... And Mozzie's gone as well too. I forgot about the Mozzie from Essendon. He's finished up as well too. Now listen, J-Dog, we're getting some sympathy and some love from the people on the chat tonight. Thank you very much. We love the J-Dog and we don't want to see him upset. But out of the two performances, whose was worse? Geelong, whose was worse? Yours or the other one?
Mine. It's always worse than the other team.
Yep. All right. Well,
just
we'll go with Port.
Just that scene from bloody Monty Python. Bring out your dead. I felt like that was that for us. Bring out your dead. That was us.
Yep. No,
Western Bulldogs chopped us up.
And we sliced and diced the Cats. And
you slice and dice the Cats.
And they'll be number 22 on the Chinese menu next week. Rightio. The gift that keeps on giving. Luke's.
You're flying close to the Georgia Love sun there.
I'm going Georgia Love, aren't I? Georgia Love. I'll be on the Bachelor. I'm the next Bachelor coming up, peeps. Hey, the gift that keeps on giving, Carlton and Luke Sayers.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
As a guy absolutely torn a team apart. He hasn't even done anything. Hey, the NRL, Amateur Hour, the Neanderthal Rugby League. What type of mindset is, and this just goes how Sydney-centric this mob is, right? Scheduling Melbourne Storm's prelim at the same time as the AFL Grand Final.
It's brilliant.
And then even better, when one of the commentators from New South Wales goes, if you walk down the street and ask anybody in Sydney if they know who the Doggies and the Demons are, I'm tipping you'd get an answer of no. Who gives a shit? Because the people in Melbourne who want to watch their team, which has been the most successful team in history for their length in the game, we watch it, you nuffies. They're completely fucking idiots up there, aren't they? And I couldn't go past this one. You know when your soft drink goes flat, you never buy it again? But you'd be completely left down if you kept buying the same bottle of soft drink and it kept going flat at important times, you'd never trust it again. Well, Gary Rowan, he had another fizzer on the weekend, all right? Can I just give you some Gary Rowan stats, right? So,
sure.
Gary Rowan, here we go. He has played 21 finals, apparently. All right? Gary Rowan in finals, 21 games, 14 goals, 9 behinds in total. Okay? 12 of those 21 games, he had no goals, but he's a forward. He averages 0.67 goals a game as a pure forward, 188 disposals in total at an average of 8.95 a game. Sorry, I had to refix that. He's had 189 disposals in 22 finals because he only had one on the weekend. Did you see the Bronx cheer he got when he got the kick in the middle of the game?
Yeah.
And he's had 13 of 21 games with 9 disposals or less.
Oh.
Talk about the three-headed monster. He had more substitutions. He had just as many substitutions on the weekend as he had possessions. And as one of the boys on the WhatsApp group said, he's probably had more affairs than he had possessions on the weekend. Rightio.
Yep.
So
can I go back to that? Can I go back to the NRL guy?
Oh, please.
I think he just needs to remember that the AFL last year was watched by 7.5 million people in Australia. The grand final. I think people know. I think people would prefer to watch that.
Yeah,
just a small one.
Cross-country boxing only going to take you so far. It's funny, rugby league is not even classified by the World Sporting Organisation as a sport.
All right, get into the good stuff, Peps.
All right, let's get into the good stuff. All right, really quickly, what do we got?
3 votes.
Say that again.
3 votes.
Right, ripping through these. D's and Dogs smashed them. 2 great winners, one completely different ways. Awesome to see. The D's, 101 points from clearances, the fourth highest ever. I think the most outside of that this year has been 47. Yeah, and the highest ever was 186 against Melbourne. So that's the highest.
Well, when you guys can basically tap it down to like a Petrarca, he can do 15 spins, tie his shoes up, get a handball out to Oliver, just walk it out of there.
It bangs it from City.
You're gonna score pretty heavily.
It's good. Gorney was dominant, like one of the best quarters of football you'll ever see, and it was because it was from a ruckman. Like ruckman shouldn't do that stuff. And I think
No.
that is going to be in my eyes, one of the things that's going to set the Demons apart from the Doggies in a fortnight's time is Gawn. Even though he is a ruckman, he plays virtually as another midfielder, the same as Jackson. And I think Stephen Martin, yes, it's going to be good at the contest, but it's around the ground stuff where he's going to be able to dominate. And the same with Jackson over English. So I think that's going to be something that we're going to look into next week. Bailey Smith, my goodness gracious. He's only 20 years of age. He's kicked 7 goals in the last 2 games. He has a mullet that you would die for. I would die for. And he is going to be the face of the AFL in a number of years' time. So if anybody on this chat...
Just don't chat himself.
And can I ask a question? What number does he wear? Exactly.
2.
All the great guns wear 6. I could
just don't change Wingard yourself. Don't go too early.
No.
He's got a bit of the show pony. I just don't want him to go down the Wingard route.
There's 2 words why he will never, ever go down the route of Chad Wingard. Shit tats. Doesn't have him. Rightio. Optus Stadium. How good did it look? How good did it look on the weekend? It looked amazing. It's going to be a perfect little what's the word I'm trying to look? Audition for the grand final.
It doesn't matter. What it looked perfect was the game was in the daytime, and then it was a perfect transition. Awesome.
Perfect. Rightio. And my last one, getting tickets for WA people. Can I just say I was able to get my barcode over to one of the guys in Perth as well. So a Wazza from the Eagle Nation podcast is going. I've given him the amount of people just saying, here's my barcode, and just giving it over to the people in the West or buying tickets for them and was sensational. And so it's going to be great. It's going to have a fully packed Optus Stadium. Cheer it on the G's, cheer it on the Doggies. It's just too bad it's not at the MCG. Like I said, the landlords versus the tenants. It's going to be an absolute corker of a game in a couple of weeks, and I cannot wait for it.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. But we talk about that next week. And
Jenny, he had a cracking mullet with those little blonde, little curly bits at the back. Now he only dreams of that.
All right, Peps, let's jump down to injuries very quickly. Actually, we're going to finish at a time. It's going to be good. All right, coming out of the game. Injuries. There we go. A bit of Family Guy. Stephen May picked up an injury on Friday night. Tight hammy, but should be ready to go. There's no issue. I didn't see an issue with it. He came back on the ground for a little bit, then went off and just iced it. When you're benching the top 6 players of your list for the last 10 minutes of the game like Melbourne were, it's okay.
It was all Tomahawk's fault with the push in the back. That's what it was. Pushed him in the back
Western Bulldogs, Cody Waitman's going to come back after his little 2-week off for the concussion rules, and Alex Keith will be ready to go as well, and Bont gets to be 100% on that knee, which was also the other concern that they had on Saturday night. But you wouldn't have told. You wouldn't have told me.
I reckon he was on the dunks.
All right, listener question this week, Pep. So last week we had what is the ultimate party food? We had responses like party pies, salves.
Boring. What are the interesting ones, J-Dog?
Well, you tell me, Peps. What was the interesting one?
Viennetta.
What? Viennetta as an ultimate party? As an ultimate footy food? Okay.
Yep. Or the other one which you have is like the toast with the chutney and the bacon piece, and you stick them underneath the griller.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Are you a big hot dog man or a little hot dog man when it comes to the hot dogs?
Don't ask me personal questions, Jamie. No little boys here, mate. It's 12 inches.
You like the 12 inches?
I love the 12 inches.
The big ones.
I like the big ones.
All right. So we also had responses such as Chico Roll. Nikki Thiel from the Porches podcast said Chico Roll underrated. A pie followed by a hot jam donut that burns your mouth. Lee Moss has said that one there. Dave Salt has said being a Carlton supporter, antipasto and a short black. Josh Weymouth, which had quite a few likes there. Overpriced beers, it's a liquid meal. Ducktronic has said it's party pies. Gay has said it was pizza. Jay Ruboy Chatsy said a pie. Simon Ostenberg said it's a barbecue, and St Kilda winning for once. And Ruboy's got back on there and said a hot dog as well.
I love a hot dog. I loves a hot dog, doesn't he, Ruboy?
All right. So
It just doesn't get old. I love it.
what's yours, Pep? What's your ultimate footy day food?
At the footy? Oh, I love it. I do love a good hot dog. I do like a hot dog.
Yep.
Sauce.
Sausage roll? Is it going to run these days? Sausage rolls?
Sausage roll. Nah, because it's too much.
Pasty?
There's not enough sausage.
Pasty?
Nah, it gives me heartburn.
Chips?
Oh,
I love
chips. Yeah, but
chips.
they've got to be freshies with chicken salt.
Dimmies
Oh,
with the sauce in the bottom of the bag.
Steamed dimmies with half a litre
I
of
was
soy
sort of
sauce.
disappointed that some people didn't really think about that sort of stuff.
Because they're sheep, mate. Footies, paws. Nah, just get on the good stuff, mate. Where's
Drumstick ice creams.
No, you don't have an ice cream at the footy. It's winter, for Christ's sake.
I know some people who do.
Well,
all right.
Play for Essendon.
So, Peps, that was some great responses we had from the listener question this week.
Yep.
My question this week for my listeners out there.
Yep.
And don't put it in the chat. Save till I put the question up on Facebook, please. Like a bunch of nuffies at you up. Please do that.
Just wait.
Because I'm building a list. You know, last week I said, Peps, we're building a list so to help the people out there come grand final week in 2 weeks' time to have a great day.
Jamie, we're on a podcast here. They don't listen.
Oh, I know. All right. I want to know, what are your grand final traditions? Ooh. So I want you to tell me, what do you like when it comes to grand final day? What do you always do? Is it a draw? Is it this? Is it a game you play? Tell us, what do you do?
Can I tell you mine really quickly?
Halftime kick?
Yeah, definitely a halftime kick on the road. But
what time do you start? Give us those sorts of things. What do you do?
First beer before double digits.
First beer.
Got to be the first beer before double digits. It's simple as this, mate. What do I normally do on grand final day? Is not watch my team. I can tell you that's been a tradition for many years. I don't watch Melbourne. This year's going to be a bit different, though.
All right, so that's my question. The question this week is, what is or are your grand final day traditions?
Yeah. All right.
And save them up for when I put in the thing. All right. Peps, we have got a couple of minutes to go.
Rightio.
I'm not going to go. Some activity. Sorry, we'll talk about some activities quickly coming up this week.
Yep.
No Brownlow this week, like I stupidly thought that things hadn't changed. They're going to be pushed till next week in the grand final week. So all those grand final things get pushed 1 week forward.
We'll do that next week. Yep, we'll do that.
We'll do that next week.
So just a couple of things. First and foremost, just before we have to put it up on the screen now, the AFL grand final is going to be next week, Saturday, the 25th of September. 5:15 in Perth, 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time between the Melbourne Demons and the Western Bulldogs. It is going to be an absolute cracker. I know a lot of people out here listening to this podcast, whether you're in Australia or around the world, you've got young kids. I want to help you with their reading. There's been a brand new children's book that's just been released this week. So I'd strongly recommend it. Will help your kids, especially with their identifying certain bits and pieces on the screen. I'll just show it up now. It's called Where's Gary? And what you have to do is open the page and look for Gary Rowan. See if you can find him. And each page will be a different finals venue for you to look at. So brand new book, Where's Gary, coming out. Doesn't drop anything at all. Okay. So doesn't touch anything. Just look for the physio or the trainer.
Hey, hasn't the amount of football memes over the past week been amazing getting around? There's been some crackers.
Oh, there's been some good ones as well too. Hey, just special shout out. Craigie Wessels is on the chat all the way from the US of A. Joins us every week. Big shout out to you, big fella. We love you joining us every week. Sorry that we burnt your cats, but you know what? You've done it for us for years, so that's it. So, J-Dog, this time next week, we'll be getting into our grand final preview. Last thing, I've got to throw this one out. Slight change of tack. Burnout. Daniel Ricciardo has the win. Tell us about it really
quickly. Was it good? Okay. Basically, set up on the Saturday afternoon with a sprint race. Pepsi, are you familiar with the sprint race format?
Goes very
They do
fast.
A race now on the Saturday, a little tiny race to then determine the grid for the Sunday race, the big race.
I like it. So it's
very good. Shakes it up.
Yeah, I like it.
Ricciardo, basically from lights to flag, led the whole thing. Who would have seen it coming? Amazing result. Well done, Danny Rick.
I'll tell you who didn't
And
see it
also
coming.
McLaren, first 1-2 they've had since 2018 in the Canadian GP. So well done, McLaren, as well.
And I'll tell you who didn't see it coming was Lewis Hamilton. He didn't see the car just literally drive over his head. So
that was
one of those things, Chad. But it was a great weekend for footy. So, hey, listeners, there's the episode for this week. Chock-a-block, lots included. Everybody who's joined us on the chat. It's been one of the biggest chat nights ever. So
thank you for those who reached out as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for those who've sent me messages. Thank you. I was okay. I may have turned it onto the F1 at halftime.
I didn't. I just said, suck balls, buddy. J-Dog, you've been awesome again. Everybody listening to this, like I said, we've got 1 week left, which is grand final week next week. So there'll be no tipped out this week because there's no games. Join us next week for our grand final preview. It's our last week in the regular season. Join us. Tell everybody about us. We'll go live. You know you like to join us. We can't wait to smash the Dogs. The Dogs can't be looking forward to smashing us. It's Big Nan's anniversary. So, Nan, we love you. Up there's the doggies. She's a doggy supporter. She'd love to be here with us. But more importantly, J-Dog, I'm going to ask you the question that we ask on literally episode 180-something. How do you want your footy, mate?
I want it lace out.
Red and blue, baby. Red and blue. Have a good night, listeners.
See ya.